This story is based on real events. In 2013 in New Delhi, a 16-year-old girl named Nu Singh walks into a police station with her parents, Paramveer and Anita. She has come to report something horrifying. A respected religious leader known only as Baba abused her at his spiritual center in Jodhpur. Nu Singh explains how it happened. She was a student at a religious boarding school called Sishu Mandir. One day she suddenly fell ill, and her dorm mates convinced everyone that she was possessed by an evil spirit. The school staff believed it too, and they told her family to take her to Baba for a spiritual cleansing ritual. But when Nu Singh was brought to Baba's private center, there was no ritual. He locked her in a room and assaulted her. After she gives her statement, a senior officer tells her to leave immediately and get a medical examination at the hospital before the police officially file the FIR, which is the first formal report police record in India. What happened to Nu Singh falls under a law called POCSO, which protects minors from sexual abuse. Reporters have already gathered outside the station, so the police tell Nu Singh to cover her face before she leaves. Soon after, officers arrest Baba while he is giving a sermon at his compound. It turns into chaos instantly. His loyal followers swarm the police, fighting to protect him. The next day, thousands of his supporters flood into Jodhpur to protest, and the mayor is forced to impose a citywide curfew to stop the violence. Meanwhile, in another part of the city, a public prosecutor named Solanki lives a quiet, simple life with his elderly mother and his young son. He handles small, ordinary cases, nothing important. Every morning he prays, teaches his son to do the same, then rides off to work on his beloved Vespa. But when he arrives at the courthouse one day, he is stunned. Baba is being welcomed by crowds of devoted followers like some untouchable hero. This is Surf Ek Banda Kafi Hai. At the first court session, the judge reads out all the charges, from child protection violations to sexual abuse. Baba calmly insists he is completely innocent and claims the accusations are false. The prosecutor assigned to Nu Singh's case, a man named Falguni, tells the court he already has evidence linking Baba to the crime, and he asks for Baba to stay in custody for 15 days while the investigation continues. Baba's defense lawyer, Pramod, argues the whole police investigation cannot be trusted, but the judge sides with the prosecution and orders Baba held for 15 days. Behind the scenes, Baba's followers are furious that he has been locked up. They pressure Pramod hard and demand that he find a way to get the POCSO charges thrown out. But something feels wrong to Nu Singh's parents. They slowly realize that Falguni, the prosecutor supposedly fighting for them, has no real interest in proving Baba guilty. He seems to be dragging the case out on purpose just so he can keep collecting money from the family. A female police officer quietly recommends a different prosecutor to them, a man named Solanki. So Nu Singh and her parents go to his home, and he asks them to tell him everything from the very beginning. Her parents explain that one night at the dormitory, around 8 or 9 in the evening, Nu Singh started complaining about terrible stomach pain. Her friends said she was possessed, the staff agreed, and everyone told the family to take her to Baba's center in Jodhpur. They arrived on the night of August 13, 2010. Baba told them Nu Singh needed a cleansing ritual first, and his followers made Paramveer and Anita wait outside while Baba treated her alone. Then Nu Singh takes over the story herself, barely holding back tears. She was left alone in the room with Baba. He turned off the lights, locked the door, and started manipulating her. Solanki gently tells her to stop. He has heard enough. He is filled with sympathy for the girl and rage that a man worshipped as a holy leader could do something so vile. But he reminds Nu Singh that she has to stay strong, because the real fight in court is only beginning. Her parents continue the story. In the days after the visit, Nu Singh only got worse. She grew distant and lost until she finally admitted what Baba had done. The moment they heard it, Paramveer and Anita rushed to the compound to confront him. But Baba's followers threw them out and claimed he was not even there. With nowhere else to turn, the family finally went to the police. Solanki then warns them about what they are walking into. He tells them about an old case where a boy was hit by a motorcycle. When the family sued, Solanki did not only blame the driver, he also blamed the doctor for a wrong diagnosis, and even the father for not guiding his child safely across the road. The point is simple. By reporting Baba, the family needs to understand that powerful people will come after them. There is even a chance Nu Singh's parents and her school could be dragged into the case, since they personally brought her to Baba that night. When Paramveer asks how much Solanki charges, Solanki refuses to take any money. He says the only payment he wants is to see Nu Singh smile again once he proves Baba guilty. At the next hearing, Solanki officially becomes the prosecutor. and Pramod immediately tries a new strategy. He argues the case should not fall under the POCSO law at all, because according to admission documents from New Singh's old playgroup, a school called Dayanand Sagar, her birthday is listed as July 4th, 1994. That would make her 18 in 2013, which means a legal adult. If true, the whole POCSO case collapses, but Solanki shuts it down fast. He holds an official government matriculation certificate that lists her real birth date as July 4th, 1996. Unlike Pramod's papers, Solanki's document carries official signatures and government stamps, which makes it far more credible. The judge trusts Solanki's evidence, so the case continues under POCSO, and New-Singh is still recognized as a minor. Solanki then announces that at the next hearing he will summon the principal of the Dayanand playgroup, a woman named Mrs. Bapat, to prove Pramod's documents are fake. Baba's side starts to panic. They drop Pramod and bring in a more experienced, more influential lawyer. One evening, Solanki calls Parambir and asks whether he told anyone about his daughter's case before going to the police. Parambir admits he confided in a close friend named Virpal. Solanki asks for Virpal to appear as a witness, along with the principal of Sishu Mandir School, and he tells Parambir to gather every one of New-Singh's school documents, from admission forms to report cards. Hearing after hearing, Baba keeps losing. After 5 straight defeats, the case moves up to the High Court, where Baba's team hires one of the most famous lawyers in the country, a man named Ram Chandwani. He is so respected that even Solanki's own assistant is starstruck just to meet him. In the High Court, Baba's side suddenly changes everything. Now they claim the incident never happened at all. Ram Chandwani argues the medical examination found no evidence and that New-Singh was physically untouched. He says the entire case is a massive conspiracy built to destroy Baba's reputation. He also claims the police broke procedure from the start by letting New-Singh have a medical exam before the FIR was officially filed, when the FIR is supposed to come first. Solanki answers with 2 clean legal points. First, under the POCSO law, any inappropriate touching of a victim under 18 already counts as a serious assault. Second, Section 27 of the POCSO law specifically allows a medical examination before the FIR is filed, as long as a female officer and the victim's relatives are present. In New-Singh's case, all of those conditions were met. Ram tries to slip away by arguing the local police still handled the procedure wrong, but Solanki calmly reminds the court that POCSO applies to every police department in every state in India. The judge rejects every argument from Baba's side and ends the hearing. Baba loses again, so his side starts playing dirty. Not long after, someone secretly offers Solanki a bribe of 200 million rupees to walk away from the case. He rejects it without hesitation. At the next hearing, Pramod is back as Baba's lawyer, and Solanki brings in a wave of witnesses. The friend Parambir first confided in, the principal of the Dayanand playgroup, who submits New-Singh's admission forms, enrollment records, and report cards. And most importantly, a man named Kapil, who worked at Baba's compound for years. Kapil reveals that Baba had allegedly been involved in many similar incidents before, that New-Singh was far from the only victim, and that Baba had a disturbing habit of choosing certain young followers to live close to him inside the compound. Then Parambir and New-Singh are called to testify. Parambir admits he was one of Baba's most loyal followers for nearly 10 years. He donated 10% of his salary, devoted himself completely, and even took out bank loans to help build one of Baba's compounds. Pramod tries to provoke him, suggesting Parambir is using his own daughter to destroy a man he once worshipped. It hits hard, and Parambir struggles to hold himself together. Then it is New-Singh's turn. Pramod throws manipulative questions at her, suggesting she invented the whole conspiracy because she was afraid of disappointing her father. He pushes and pushes, hoping she will panic or contradict herself. But she does not break. Solanki has prepared her, and she stands firmly by her statement. She makes it clear there was never any conspiracy, and that everything in her police report is true. But right after, Solanki is shaken by something his assistant hands him. A collection of documents suggesting that Baba, and even his own son, have been linked to repeated crimes, abuse, and violence for years. Solanki learns about another prosecutor who had consistently helped Baba's earlier victims, and he decides to bring this man in as a key witness. He never gets the chance. In broad daylight, Baba's son and an associate allegedly attack that prosecutor with acid, killing him before he can testify. The terror does not stop there. One day, riding his Vespa through the city, Solanki realizes 2 men are following him. A tense chase breaks out through the streets, but he manages to escape. Soon after, Baba's son is finally arrested and charged in connection with the acid attack. As the trial goes on, nearly every witness makes it to court, except the principal of Sishu Mandir, who is too terrified to appear after receiving a package containing rifle bullets. The court circles back to the biggest question of all. Was Nu Singh really underage? Solanki's certificate says she was born in 1996. Mrs. Bapat, the Dayan playgroup principal, had submitted 3 documents claiming 1994. But now at this hearing, she suddenly produces a 4th document, a promotion report card, this one carrying an official signature and school stamp. That immediately catches Solanki's attention. The first 3 documents had no signatures or stamps at all, yet somehow this 4th one looks perfectly official. When Solanki asks who created that 4th document, Mrs. Bapat's answers turn shaky and inconsistent. He presents records from Nu Singh's real school, Sishu Mandir, all of them carrying official signatures and verified government stamps. Then he asked Mrs. Bapat for the payment receipts and childhood photographs that should exist if Nu Singh had truly studied at Dayanan. She grows more and more nervous. Pramod is caught secretly signaling her to stay quiet about where the documents came from. But Solanki keeps pressing about the missing payment records, and under the pressure, Mrs. Bapat finally cracks. She admits the truth. Nu Singh never studied at the Dayanan playgroup at all. That confession destroys Baba's entire argument. It proves Nu Singh has no connection to those documents, which means her real birth year is 1996, exactly as the government-verified records show. She is legally a minor, and the POCSO case stands. The testimony continues with a former compound employee who reveals that Baba had committed several acts of violence against women in the past. But the moment the hearing ends, chaos erupts again. From the middle of the crowd of Baba's fanatical followers, a man rushes at Solanki with a knife, and in the confusion, the employee who just testified is stabbed. Baba's supporters grow more violent by the day, and anyone who dares support Nu Singh is now in danger. One of Baba's own students, who was supposed to testify, is later found murdered and hanged before he could speak. The police finally place every witness under protection, including Nu Singh's family and Solanki's mother and son. One night, Nu Singh admits she is terrified and emotionally exhausted. The pressure has become so crushing that she has started having thoughts of harming herself. So many people outside the courtroom believe she falsely accused Baba, and the constant judgment is destroying her. Solanki tries to steady her. He explains that to Baba's followers, she will always be the guilty one because they cannot accept that the man they worship could commit such crimes, but he reminds her that she has already done something incredibly brave by exposing Baba. He tells her that her biggest enemy now is not Baba's followers, but the fear and pain inside her own mind. If she can beat that, no one can break her. For the next hearing, the testimony is expected to be extremely sensitive, so Solanki, Pramod, and the judge agree to close the courtroom to the public. Only court officials, Nu Singh, and her parents remain inside. Pramod starts questioning her about small details from Baba's room, including the color of the bedsheets. Nervous, she answers black, even though they were actually blue. Then she is asked to describe that night again. Pramod tries to corner her, asking whether Baba at least asked for her permission. Holding back tears, she says he never asked for anything, and forced himself on her from the very start. Pramod keeps attacking. He argues that many of the details she just described were never written in the original FIR, Solanki objects. He explains that an FIR is never meant to contain every small detail from a traumatized victim, especially right after the incident. Expecting her to calmly organize every painful memory would be completely unreasonable. Nu Singh adds that she was still in shock because a man revered as a holy figure had done something so horrifying to her. Pramod tries one more angle. He argues her testimony cannot be trusted because there were no eyewitnesses in the room, only Baba and Nu Singh. Solanki counters brilliantly. He brings up Pramod's earlier trick about the bedsheet color, then asks the judge a simple question. The color of the fan hanging right beside him. The judge cannot answer. Then Solanki asks Pramod the color of his own assistant's wristwatch. Again, no answer. His point is clear. It is unrealistic to expect Nu Singh to remember every tiny detail from a dark room while panicking. In the dark, blue bedsheets could easily look black, and Solanki emphasizes something bigger. In cases like this, a victim's testimony that stays consistent and honest becomes powerful evidence on its own, especially when the other facts, like Nu Singh's age, have already been proven. But outside, the terror escalates. Virpal, the friend who testified, is shot dead while shopping. Paramveer loses his job at the market. Everyone connected to the case now lives in constant fear. The battle keeps climbing until it reaches India's Supreme Court. There, Baba's lawyers suddenly claim he is suffering from a severe nerve disorder called trigeminal neuralgia and urgently needs treatment in the United States. Solanki notices something suspicious right away. The medical papers say Baba has had this illness for 4 years, yet it was never once mentioned in any earlier hearing, and it only surfaces now after Baba has lost case after case. To Solanki, it is obvious. Baba is planning to flee the country. So Solanki requests that Baba first be examined at one of India's best hospitals. If the illness is real, he can go abroad afterward. Baba's lawyers protest that Indian doctors would not understand such a rare disease, but Solanki fires back that India's top hospitals accept only the most qualified doctors through brutally competitive exams, and their expertise can absolutely be trusted. The judge agrees. Baba must be examined by India's best specialists first. A few hours later, the results arrive. Baba is completely healthy. The request to travel abroad is rejected. Back home, Solanki snaps at his son for going out to get ice cream with friends without telling anyone. It seems like an overreaction, but deep down he is terrified. Baba's followers have shown they will attack, kidnap, and murder, and he cannot stop imagining his own child becoming a target. That night, alone on his rooftop, Solanki finally breaks down. When his mother comes to comfort him, he admits how exhausted he is after years of fighting when the truth has always seemed so obvious, yet justice still feels impossible. His mother reminds him of a poem he wrote as a child, a simple message about staying strong and patient and always searching for a way through, no matter how hard it becomes. After years of threats, violence, and endless battles, the case finally reaches its fifth year in 2018. By now, 4 key witnesses have been murdered and several others have vanished, and now the final day of the trial arrives. Police heavily secure Jodhpur, especially around the courthouse, to stop violence from breaking out. Before Solanki leaves, his mother once again tells him to stay firm and never hesitate. Both lawyers give their closing statements. Pramod goes first. He says he is disappointed that after 5 years, people still refuse to believe in Baba's innocence. He insists the case is fabricated and warns that if Baba is found guilty, countless poor families will suffer, because Baba leads a humanitarian organization that supposedly provides free education, charity, and medical aid to thousands in need. Then Solanki speaks. He explains that in every courtroom, both sides simply play their roles. One defends, one prosecutes. Pramod was doing his duty, and so was he. But he says everyone in that room has forgotten the most important thing of all. They forgot the victim. At the center of this case is a young underage girl whose life was destroyed, yet her suffering keeps getting reduced to legal arguments about guilt and innocence. Solanki reminds the court of a larger truth, that countless women across India have faced some form of abuse in their lives. To him, Nusing is no longer just a victim. She is a brave young woman who found the courage to speak the truth and a symbol of hope for every woman too afraid to speak up. He accuses Baba of an unforgivable crime, disguising himself as a holy man while committing horrors behind closed doors. Baba did not only destroy his victims, Solanki argues, he damaged the reputation of every genuine religious figure. And if a man like Baba can hide behind religion without punishment, people may slowly begin to normalize the same evil. For that reason, Solanki insists the harshest punishment possible is the only fair outcome for a spiritual leader who uses influence to destroy innocent lives. After 5 exhausting years of trials, threats, and violence, the court finally delivers its decision. Baba is sentenced to life imprisonment for all of his crimes, especially for what he did to Nusing. The verdict is broadcast across the country and announced inside Jodhpur Central Prison. The moment she hears it, Nusing breaks down in tears, and her parents are overwhelmed with emotion. Across India, people celebrate the verdict as a victory not just for Nusing, but for every victim ever silenced by fear and power. And for Solanki, all of it. The patience, the courage, and the years of sacrifice was finally worth it. So the moral of the story is sometimes the bravest people are the ones who cry every night, but still choose to fight for the truth the next morning.